All right, the time has come, Steve. We can bring it. Do you want to introduce our judges? We've got several guest judges in queue here, and then we will pull up our participants one by one. This will be a little more in depth. Some might have it's not required. There's no requirements. They are not required to have a pitch deck or a product demo, but it is optional. So if they'd like to present through a pitch deck or do a product demo, I do know at least one of our judges has a hard out at 3:30. So I think we have plenty of time with just the 5 finalists, Steve, to get through this, but we'll be cognizant of that time. And we want to be sure we give everyone, close to about the same amount of time, but we'll make sure if our judges have, any additional questions, we'll get those answered. And do we have a volunteer? Do we want to pick on someone? And Steve, I'll let you introduce the judges. Then I guess if anyone wants to volunteer to go first, you can nominate yourself in the chat. If not, we may have to draw straws or something here in a bit. But do you mind taking us through some quick intros?
Sure. No, this is about as happy.
I just need a quick stream drop and I'll be back. But yeah,
do a mobile stream drop. Yeah, there you go. We have we have a phenomenal group of judges here. I'm actually going to let them introduce themselves. Also, hilarious seeing Funky roll up in the straight chain and hodl hat was ready. Funky is the most Bitcoin maxi non-maxi I've ever met, where it's like, it's this paradox of somebody who, like, if you talk to him for 10 minutes, you're like, this guy's obsessed. It's Bitcoin maxi, but he's actually an ecosystem explorer. So similar to our other judge, Outer Lumen. So let's actually go Outer Lumen down to Raheem. I know Raheem was here earlier. We'll let him introduce himself again in a second because, if there are people who weren't listening, but I'm going to start with my sister from another Mr. Outer Lumen. GM, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me. Does this microphone work?
Yeah.
Amazing. Good. Sure. I brought the fancy things out for my brother's Cap and Steve. I had to. Thanks for having me. Yeah, my background. Geez. Okay. Well, I used to work for Hashmask as the creative director. Then I worked as a UX designer for Yuga Labs, brought out Cam for Legends of the Mara. And now I work for the Taproot Wizards as an illusionist. So I switched chains, but Ape forever. So I'm here to help out with any way I can.
Yeah. Also just one of the my favorite person to talk to about insights and, like, true story. Like, my wife will say, like, when Outer Lumen says we should hop on a call, she's like, budget 2 hours, because you guys are going to say you're going to do a 15-minute call and then it's going to be a 2-hour call. So always the deep convos. Funky, also practically my brother if you change one letter in our last name, because we have the same. How many people? Last name Kaczynski for me. Funky's got one letter separation at the beginning there, but give your background a little bit.
Thanks so much, Steve. Yeah, I had to come dressed as my character for my AI action figure because they said it went hard, so I just had to show up looking like this. But yeah, hey everybody, my real name is Ryan Kaczynski, as Steve said, just that one letter difference with the H versus the K. I am the head of protocol partnerships for an enterprise grade institutional focused infrastructure provider. We're SOC 2 certified, run only fully owned bare metal called Global Stake. Met Steve and Cap, of course, try and listen to their show while I'm at the gym. I'm a regular panelist on Modern Market. Raheem, I knew it was going to make him laugh as soon as he came on screen and saw me dressed this way. I'm glad that I put a smile on this man's face, and so hopefully putting smiles on everybody's face. But thank you for inviting me. This is really I'm looking forward to this. I used to be a 20-year classroom teacher in high school, so I was used to evaluating, presentations and stuff like that. It's been a minute because I've been out of the classroom for 5 years, but looking forward to doing this and learning more about the incredible community that involves ApeDAO. So thanks for letting me be here.
Right on. And by the way, we'll go to Raheem in a second. We mentioned one of the common ties here is Modern Market. I mean, Funky, I think I first heard talking on Modern Market. I'm like, I like this guy. And Raheem as well, often on there as well. B-Check and Legendary were our first round of judges. They listened to about 25 pitches and narrowed them down to 5, which you're getting today. Raheem, for people who missed your background earlier during the network panel, if you don't mind giving that as an overview, and then Cap, Laura, I'll let you all kick it off and pick a group to go.
GM, everybody. I cranked up the AC in Dubai so I could match hoodies with you guys and stuff. But super awesome to be here. I am basically the co-founder and president for ArtStyle, an IRL community based out of Dubai. We actually announced our clubhouse, Web3 Soho House, if you will, just today. I worked with a lot of...
I know I can't... sorry for the interruption. I'm excited to actually talk to you about this and for another time, but congrats, because I saw that go out today and it definitely pumped about it.
Yeah, can't wait to tell you guys about it. So let me just finish this off. And so I do like a lot of angel investing myself across DeFi, NFTs, gaming ecosystems, protocol level. I also work with like a lot of VCs and hedge funds in Dubai. So I feel like I've been on every aspect of this as an investor, as a consumer. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what we end up cooking today. And yeah, let's kick it off.
Right on. I'll let you pick a team, Cap, Laura, whoever wants to pick a team. But I will say, how about this, knowing that our time frame and what we're looking at? Let's say basically, teams come up, try and sort of like you have a little bit of a longer presentation. If you want to use a visual, you're welcome to. Let's call it 3 to 5 minutes for the pitch, and then have a Q&A session with the judges. Let them sort of get their bearings about everything, to make sure that they are, able to really evaluate those. As a reminder to people, and similar categories from earlier: clarity, ApeCoin ecosystem value. Does it grow the adoption of ApeCoin, or utility of ApeCoin? Originality and execution readiness are sort of the things that the final five will be judging on. One of them picked from these group will win. Obviously, I now feel that pressure of I wish everyone was a winner, of course, but should be a fun one. So maybe say 3 to 5 minute pitch max. Q&A session for another 3 to 5 minutes. That'll give sort of 10 minutes a team. That'll get us right at that mark to make sure at most everybody's getting out of here on time with their hard stop. So I'll hand it over to y'all to start picking and swinging teams.
So
and Von Front, and I know after 2:30 would be the time for him, because I know he's got a thing.
Yep. And he went first earlier, so I was going to not put him on the spot again. Just in order on my screen, we're going to go One Sky Collective, Oscar, with Dodd Protocol. That should put us past 2:30. We can go Vanga, Zoe, and then Zards to wrap things up. But One Sky Collective, if you're good to kick things off, give me a quick wave and we'll pull you up here in a second. Awesome. So yeah, we'll kick off with One Sky Collective, and also to all of our finalists here. Again, no obligation, but if you'd like to, either a brand account or your personal account, if you'd like it up on the audio spaces stage, just throw in a request so we can see you, and we'll pull you up there as well. You're just going to make sure you leave that muted and keep your audio on, your mic on the presentation here. But with that, we'll bring up our first competitor here, One Sky Collective. Welcome back. Congratulations to making it to the finals. And as Steve mentioned, you'll have 5 to 7 minutes or so for your pitch, your presentation. It doesn't have to be that long either. Really take as much time as you like. This is semi-informal. We want you to have fun, and really just want to get the information out there. So our judges will ask you some questions afterwards. We'll probably, Steve, I think that's a good idea. Probably try to keep it all into about 10 minutes for each individual, and that way we'll make sure we get in and out before our judges need to get out of here at 3:30. Sound good?
No problem at all.
All you. And I guess you can do just audio if you want. I can put on some light background music if you'd prefer.
No, I'm perfectly fine. Yeah, I think with my accent, the less background noise, the better.
I'm a little jealous of the accent, but
yeah, everyone is. Well, I'll bring it started. Thank you so much.
Good luck.
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm super excited to get through to the final 5. My team and I have worked so hard to get here. So what I'll do is tell you a little bit what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how we're going about it, and also what we hope to bring to ApeChain. I come from a health promotion background, and I was an advisor for the Faculty of Sport and Exercise Medicine. And my approach to getting people more active was not to blame them for inactivity or blame them for obesity, but try and guide them into ways in which they could nudge themselves into being more active. And when I realised, I get more involved in sustainability, and I realised that on one hand, I was very good. I recycled my plastic. I drank a water bottle. I did many things. But I also fly to the USA every single year, which counteracts what I'm doing. I noticed that the messaging in the climate community was quite harsh at times and quite blame-driven and very crisis-driven, and that we were telling people how bad things are, how bad things are becoming. And what research shows is that people don't actually react positively to that. They tend to think there's no point in doing anything because it doesn't really matter. And what we're doing, One Sky, our app, is showing that yes, it does matter. Whether you are eating vegan, flexitarian, or vegetarian meals, if you are switching off your computer and that pesky microwave clock at the end of the night, which actually costs you about $20 a year if you don't shut it off. If you do these actions as an individual, you might think it's nothing, but collectively, if tens, hundreds, if millions of us do this, we make a huge impact. And that's what we'll do in the platform. We'll give people the opportunity to tell us what they want to do, how they're doing it, how often they're doing it. We'll give them points and badges for reaching milestones. The points they can then transfer into planting trees, into repurposing plastic. And I say repurposing plastic intentionally. We are not recycling plastic. We've got a partner in Indonesia who pays locals to collect the plastic, work in a factory, to break it down and remake new products. Our rationale is that we can turn the tap off by getting people to change behaviours, but we also want to help mop up the mess by monetising plastic waste so that local communities are less likely to throw it into rivers, which then go to the ocean. So it's really important we do that. And how we do that financially is our income streams. One of our main income streams is NFTs. We're using them to raise funds. Users, when they buy them, can see how many trees that NFT plants. They can see how much plastic it repurposes. Our NFTs will not be AI driven. They will be by actual artists and National Geographic and Time magazine photographers. We want to only showcase some of the best natural world art that there is. We also have advertising. It's called a view to plant. So it's a cringy name, apologies for that. But basically, viewers will be tracked watching adverts from sustainable brands and sustainable organisations and conservation organisations. And then the money we receive from our advertisers will then obviously help fund operations and what we do. We also realise that some of the competition, and we do have competition, I won't lie about that, what they tend to do is only have an online presence, which can be quite disengaging for some people. So what we're building into our app is a more in real life events where we will help enable people to arrange beach cleans, park cleans, to go on plogging activities. For those that don't know, plogging's when you go for a run and you carry a waste picker and a bag at the same time, and you pick up waste as you run. So we'll organise all these sort of things, interwork challenges as well as part of the platform. But the most important thing we're doing is try to make it a fun environment with repetitive actions that people can actually enjoy and get into the habit of doing so. We have unashamedly taken practices from other apps like Duolingo. So we'll give people the points for streaks for logging in. We'll send them reminders, notifications. We're planning quite an expansive app, and this is why we've got a team of 25 designers and developers, all volunteers, I might add, because we're a non-profit. We're trying to put as much money into doing the good aspects that we can. So what I'd like to do now is kind of just show you some of the designs that we have for the app. And without Lumen being here, I'm a little bit scared, but I'll do so anyway. So if you just allow me to present my screen for a second.
Yeah, do you have, is it saying you can or no?
I should be able to, hopefully.
Yeah, you should be able to. If it's giving you any issues, let me know.
I will do. Tell me if you can see this okay?
Oh, there you go.
There we go. So this is basically you'll notice that our palette is very, very soft palette colours, very gentle colours in design. And this is actually intentional. And it's because research showed us that the demographics more likely to adopt such an app and to adopt sustainable practices are Gen Z, millennial females. Not to say that the young men and other age groups won't get involved, but our target research has shown this is the kind of audience we're looking for. You can see here, we have a kind of basic dashboard giving people what they can do, modules they can log into for logging their water bottles. One of our partners is an organisation in the UK called City for Sea. They basically have an app, which is a map that shows you where you can refill your water bottles for free. They've got 500,000 users, and as a partner, they're going to be referring those users to us. You then see Vampire Power. This is one of my favourites. These are the little items that we basically leave on all night long, not realising just how much energy they're using and how much they're costing us. So basically, users will be able to click onto each app that they're closing off, and they'll get points. Same with the meals. We recognise that reducing meat is very important, but we don't differentiate between those who reduce and those who remove, because if I'm someone who eats 10 steaks a week and I reduce it to 2, I've made a huge impact. And we don't want to blame people for what they're not doing, but instead encourage them for what they are doing. I'll just end that now. We're also building community pages so that people can create groups, create challenges, join groups. We feel this interaction is important because other research we have has showed us that individually people would rather work in tandem with others. So basically our plans, the future, I mentioned in the pitch, I'm a sustainability champion for the UK government and UK government departments. I'm in talks with them for us to use the app within their departments. The UK government has a pledge for net zero, and we've realised that staff have to play a role in this. We've tried other apps. I got the feedback from all those apps, and I've essentially built the app around their requirements. A little bit cheating, but it made sense to build something that I know a target market absolutely want. How are we going to enhance the ApeChain? Well, basically, it's through transactions and through users using the chain. Every user will eventually have a soulbound NFT, which shows their impact and their achievements all in the one NFT. That's something we'll do for version 2. But in the interim period, it'll be through selling NFTs. I will add as well, one of our other partners and co-founders is the chair of the World Calisthenics Organisation, who are a sporting organisation based in Los Angeles, but have got athletes all around the world. These athletes have audiences not in the millions, not in the tens of millions, but the hundreds of millions. And we will have them as backing us and supporting us online. We're really excited what the future holds, and I hope that you'll see the potential we have, not only for bringing users to ApeChain, but for doing a lot of good in the world.
Great. Judges, I don't know if you want to go in a particular order, but feel free to fire off questions.
Sure, I can start. Thank you for the presentation. That was really insightful. I heard you speak earlier. I didn't catch everyone, but I did hear yours. One of the questions that I have, if you don't mind, talk me through kind of the user journey if I was to open that app right now, because I think the part that I'm missing and I cannot picture in my mind is how National Geographic artists' NFTs are then connected to me as a user of your app, changing my behaviors and getting those rewards. I think if you don't mind just kind of shedding some light a little bit and kind of clarifying what that looks like, that would be super helpful, because I think I'm missing that connection.
Yeah, certainly. Obviously, we have different modules within the app. Some of the modules will be about users registering their activities, such as refilling their bottles, also logging their meals, their activities. One of the things we're planning is tracking people's journeys on foot and bike, etc. Other modules, however, will also be about affiliate sales. So we're going to have a kind of e-commerce page where the points to use can be converted into discounts on sustainable products from sustainable brands. The NFTs will fit in that kind of module where it will be a purchase, almost like a donation to the work. But what we're doing, rather than just a donation and saying thank you for donation, we're saying thank you for donation, and here's a very collectible piece of art. So you'll see many organisations will have donation pages on their apps, but what we'll see it is rather than donation to do it, we'll put it for an NFT. Another reason for using NFTs, because not everything has to be on chain. Another reason for using NFTs is gatekeepers. we want to be able to then sell merchandise with the artist's work on T-shirts, tote bags, all sustainable, not made from plastic or polyesters or anything like that, and to encourage people to buy more sustainable clothing. So the actual flow, the process, the customer will come in and they'll be given a first time they log in, there'll be a kind of guide to each page as they open it up, explaining to them the rationale for what they're doing, why they're doing, how they do it. And then the tabs, they'll have different tabs. They'll have tabs for the activities. There's also things that are kind of one-offs. So we're partnered with Refill app. So there'll be a page where they can sign up for that. They'll be able to sign up for Vinted, which is a second-hand platform. If they can join their local vegan or vegetarian group, they get points for these things. So what we have is like a activity board of different things they can do, and buying the NFTs and supporting work that's happening at ground level is one of those options.
Okay, got it. Yeah, no, that's super helpful. So really the kind of ApeChain is just one part of this bigger picture and bigger app that you've created.
Yeah, because what we feel is I've always believed in ninja activities where you get people on chain by not telling them they're on chain, not making it super obvious they're on chain. You give them a Web2 experience, but with Web3 technology. Because let's be honest, the general public, they're not ready for Web3 the UX and UI, although UX UI isn't up to standard of Web2. So we have to give the customers what they will actually use. And this is my thing. At the moment, we're using points, but there's a future when we can use tokens. But once again, my research showed that as soon as you mention a crypto token, the general public just weren't interested.
I'll defer to the other co-judges here. I'm sure they have questions as well.
Yeah, thanks so much. I'll just jump in. 2 quick questions. First and foremost, I just love the initiative that you're taking. I taught AP Human Geography for many, many years, talked about the concept of global, think globally, act locally. So this is kind of really what you're doing, and I love that aspect of it. You mentioned that you're working with the UK government, and so this kind of speaks to the readiness for you to roll this out and so on and so forth. Do you have MOUs with them? How formal is this relationship? And then are you also scouting out other partnerships with other governments and other locales? That's question 1. And then 2, well, I'll pause there and let you answer that real quick.
Yes, certainly. I'm a great believer in using my network to my advantage. I am a civil servant. I'm a sustainability champion for the UK government. So the talks at the moment are informal. However, they shared with me their research on the apps they used. Some of the developers have designed a carbon footprint calculator, and they're talking about allowing us to integrate it into our app to save us from having to build one ourselves or to locate one in open source. So the talks are very early stages, and it's with one department, the Department for Work and Pensions, which has 80,000 staff. However, I'm confident that should we convert that department into a full contract, it's the next step is then networking with all the civil servants, sustainability champions, and getting us in other departments as well. So the DWP are the kind of the test platform, the test stage. We capture them, that then opens up the other departments.
Awesome. And then my second question really just revolves around usage of the app. Over time, we often see users don't really stay. They'll try something because it's new, they like doing it. You'll always have your power users, for instance, who are going to continue to use the app and be, show great fidelity to logging their activities. But what are you doing or thinking about how to keep people, like the stickiness of the app? Because this might not be something, to your point in the very beginning of your presentation, talked about how many people don't go out of their way to do these good things, although certainly they do have clearly an impact when there's a lot of people doing it. Have you guys thought about the sustainability of keeping people on the app once you get them to sign up, and maybe some of those incentives long term that's going to encourage that?
Yes, one of the things that inspired me to do this was actually as a user of competitor apps. There's an app. A lot of the things you're doing, I'll be honest, are not unique, but it's how we're doing it. It makes a difference. Some of the apps would have a single focus. You go in, you watch a video, they plant a tree, and that's it. Now, it's no matter how strong-willed you are, that gets boring after a while every single day. And as much as I love planting trees, I stopped doing it. And I hate myself for doing it, but the apps didn't interest me. So as I mentioned before, we're copying tactics used by apps like Duolingo, where we're giving streak rewards, where we are sending notifications to people to remind them to log in, etc. But we also realise that although giving people the option to plant trees and repurpose plastic is very good, some people want other things. So once we actually grow, we'll have raffles where people can win discount prizes, etc., from similar platforms. We're actually in talks with a gaming company to build a small game within the app as well, because people like that tap stuff. And that's something we're planning. We're also looking in the future for IoT, so we can actually connect to people's energy systems in their homes and track how much energy they've actually reduced and stuff. AI to verify meals. At the moment, we're based it on trust, a lot of it in trust. Thankfully, I share the beliefs of some of your earlier speakers who believes that inherently most people are good. You always get people who will game the system. You can't avoid that, but most people will do the right thing for the right reasons. So we are. This is my I had an argument, not an argument, discussion with my developer team leader who wants to ship fast and get the MVP out and get feedback. And from a UI UX point of view, that makes sense to get feedback from users. But I realise this is version 1. It's not a minimum viable product. We have to deliver full value to the customers that we're first going to use. And from then, we can then evolve and develop.
Thanks so much.
Go ahead. I was gonna say maybe time for one more question. Raheem, if you had any for
Yeah, just a very quick one. Have you thought about, you have like the refillable water bottles, because right now the two revenue models that you mentioned, where you're obviously like raising money through the NFTs and essentially like the ad revenue. Have you thought about, like, from the get-go, like you mentioned that there's like they're collecting points. Have you thought about like selling your own bottles with the IP that you have, that you get a boost on points with your account? Same thing with the meals model, that maybe you could partner with like certain restaurants and be like, okay, you're a vegan restaurant, that maybe if they use a code that we generate every day or whatever, that we get like a cart and you guys get a cart, because that way you'll have like a lot of cash flow coming in to your ecosystem and you're not just like reliant on ad revenues.
Yes, to be honest, we've in the future we've thought of several monetization schemes. For the water bottle, we've looked at the sourcing water bottles, basically print on demand, etc., and putting on our own labels, etc., using NFTs at the bottom as opposed to NFTs, where they can scan that and log their refills automatically. We're also, this is something for the future, our partner Sector C are partners with two supermarkets in the UK, Sainsbury's and Marks and Spencer's. And what they do is they basically work the refillable pastas, rices, the detergents, that sort of stuff. So our plan in the future is hopefully to work with them. One of our other partners has a contract with Starbucks, and our goal is eventually to tie in with them. He's quite high level contacts, so we're hoping to utilise that. So when people go into Starbucks or Costa or anywhere else and use their reusable cups, they can automatically scan our app and get the points, etc. For the monetization of the meals, we spoke to another app called Fork Ranger, and we're looking at working with them. They're an app that actually people sign in and they give you the menus for vegetarian meals and the shopping list, etc. So we've got a lot of things that we're looking at for the future. But for the kind of the first phase, we're basically looking at what the DWP asked for.
Right on. Well, judges,
Thank you.
Judges, give a, think through your scores, what you thought about this one. I know you're going to have 4 more to compare it to in these pitches, but thanks for the coming up and bearing your heart out in front of everybody. This is not an easy thing to do. And we talked about it earlier, actually, B-Check mentioned it, and I think we were talking about it offline. It was like, this is a hard thing to do. The 90-second pitch followed by this pitch is very difficult on the spot like this, especially in a virtual format. So really good job conveying your ideas, your thoughts, and everything, and appreciate you taking the time today.
Thank you so much. It's a project I'm so passionate about. So thank you for the opportunity, and good luck to everyone who follows me.
Thank you, and good luck as well. And regardless of the outcome of this competition, thank you for doing what you're doing and being passionate about something. We need more people doing good in this world. And crypto at large has a reputation problem, a PR problem from all the scammers and grifters. And I said it earlier, but I think there's a hell of a lot more good, great people in this space that mean well than the bad people. We just need more stories like this. We need more consumer products that get the word. They don't know it's tech or crypto until they figure out later, like, wow, I was wrong about this space that entire time. So yeah.
Believe it or not, this all started. I asked a question on Twitter, and I said, "Why do you all hate crypto?" Because I've lost so many followers from my previous life because of my involvement in the blockchain, and I was overwhelmed with responses. It's a scam. It's a Ponzi. It's a scam by scammers for scammers. The blockchains use up so much electricity. It's bad for the environment. They rip off the work of artists, copying artists and selling their work. So, but a lot of the motivation behind what I'm doing is to show that the blockchain can be for good. And also, I've got a lot of friends who are artists who are struggling at the moment because of the bear market. And I saw this as a way of putting that digital art into other people's hands without promoting it as a pump and dump meme coin or a trying to get rich off an NFT. I just saw to me to be a better way to use NFTs rather than a way to enrich people. Let's enrich the planet and let's make it a better place.
Absolutely. I think that this group of people just are a beautiful example of that, and everyone building here in this space and partaking or just participating. I think that, that's what we're trying to do, right? Like that the bad news don't get the best of us, but then there's so many more good in this space. So thank you. And like Cap said, I think that, everyone that participated today is already a winner somehow. So thank you. And yeah, let's go on with the next one. Are we ready?
Thank you.
Thanks again. Good luck. And we will be in touch. We're going to bring up Oscar with
Hi.
Welcome back. Congratulations on making it to the finals. And
Thanks, thank you. Can I share my screen?
Absolutely. Go ahead. If you have any trouble, let us know. But yeah, you should be able to share.
Thanks. Well, here we are. First, I will recap the pitch a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah, Dog Protocol. What we are doing with Dog Protocol is unlocking liquidity for the autonomous economies. Like, we are seeing that the assets are no longer for the people. 90% of the people don't own any asset. So actually, will goes even worse because of artificial intelligence, because all the things we envision that will be managed by AI agents in the future. So the ownership is like will be really relevant, because right now you work for get earnings, but the future is about the ownership of the revenues that the machines are making. So that's why we are thinking and developing and implementing a DeFi layer into the physical infrastructure. So what we are trying to do with Dog Protocol is allowing anyone to have a percentage of a share of a physical infrastructure that are already decentralized. Because the idea is that if you interact with infrastructure, for example, by paying to electricity in a EV charger station, or using a decentralized Wi-Fi architecture, or using a decentralized GPO, so you can invest and get a percentage of the future revenue that infrastructure will generate in the future. So that's allow anyone to get a percentage of that infrastructure. So how it works is like we have a platform. Actually, we have like two platforms, but one platform is where you can create and tokenize the device. Right now, we're working with Deepin device because it's easier. And in that platform, you create custom rules for the distribution of profit. So, for example, this device will generate a certain amount of money based on the historical data. So it will be distributing the earnings one per month, for example. So you can invest in a 10% of that future revenue, and it works similar to when you invest in a DeFi protocol, because you put stablecoin and you receive API. Here is like the same, but the difference with the current DeFi status is that you are investing actually in the infrastructure. So your money is received that rewards for every earning that machine generate goes to your wallet, and until the expiration of the contract. And what we have right now, we have this is the platform where you can create those smart contracts. And actually, for what we are thinking on Ape, for example, I create one. It's like, for example, you can create a different kind of mechanism for distributing rewards among for example, if you launch a specific NFT or a token in the Ape ecosystem, so you can link that token into this concept that we call profit pool. It's like the system where you distribute that earnings from a specific infrastructure. In this case, it's like, for example, imagine that Ape have a judge or a service that you are making money with that. So everyone can invest in the future revenue of that infrastructure, like the judge. And with this system, you can distribute to among all the current holders of that token or your investors. So, for example, in this case, we have, for example, an EV charger. So you can buy a participation of a percentage of the EV charger, and the stakeholder receive a participation regarding that the current amount of tokens they hold right now. For example, this account holds 50%, so he will receive 50% of the revenues that device will generate or infrastructure generates. So that's like this platform is like for making this kind of, in a simple way, those contracts, because it works like a studio. And what we're working right now is the consumer app that is looking like this. It's like if you want only invest, for example, in a percentage of a decentralized infrastructure, you can do it in an easy way. Just put the amount and selecting the type of infrastructure you want to invest, and here it will be displayed all the asset regarding your selection. So, for example, if you want to invest in Wi-Fi networks, or you want to invest in EV chargers or solar panels or whatever, the centralized infrastructure we have available in the platform, it will be here. So you will have the possibility to invest in those yields. So the cool part here is like all this will be linked, because right now, for example, anyone can create a distribution pool and promise that you will distribute the future revenues, because like here is like you are creating an escrow contract with distribution rules, so anyone can do it and promise whatever they want. But the cool idea and what make us different is that we're trying to solve this problem using agents and a mechanism for doing this. So the idea is that the infrastructure that you want to connect into this escrow distribution system is linked in a hardware way. So, for example, in the case of the solar panels, in the inverter, we have a software that runs into that, and all the money that receive the solar panel goes directly into crypto. So when it's in crypto in a non-ROM system connected with the fiat account, we can pass that money into an agent that runs into a trusted executor environment. So the administrator of the infrastructure uh, doesn't have the private key of the account. So the idea is that the money of the infrastructure goes directly into the wallet of the agent wallet, and the administrator can't touch that money. So it depends on the rules of that of what the of the agent, how to proceed with that money. So that ensures that if you create the system of distribution, it ensures that your percentage is protected because the administrator of the infrastructure uh, was is not able to withdraw the money that goes to the private account. So that's like the mechanism we're building right now. But right now in the platform, you can create those profit pools where you can define different kind of rules of distribution, and could serve like a airdrop mechanism as well, or could serve like to engage the community with a specific type of investment you want to make. For example, like the use case I mentioned before, like for example, create a buying a yacht for services, and so everyone can invest, and the holders of a specific token receive a percentage of the future revenue of that. You can do it in the platform, but that process, that use case is like trusted, because obviously your community need to trust you in order to put money into a promise. That's what we're trying to solve with this kind of tools, like building the agents, building other kind of stuff. It's like top protocol about.
Very, very interesting. Appreciate you sharing. We'll turn it over to the judges. Outer went first last time. Maybe we'll go in reverse order. If I think Raheem's still up there, unless we lost him on our. Are you done sharing, or did you want? There's other things you wanted to share on screen?
Yes, I forgot about that. Here is like, it's like when you combine the agent tech and the deep-in devices, because here you have deep-in devices that are connected into the dot protocol architecture, and those devices are depositing the money into the distribution smart contract. So, for example, if you invested into this EV charger, this EV charger will be distribute your percentage to your account. So here you can see the agent that is called Dobby, and the agent is managing right now six chargers. And if you hold a token of those chargers, you will receive revenues. That's like, and here's the architecture, but this part is like more technical. It's like for showing how the rack of the agent works.
Very interesting. Let's go Funky first, and then Outer, if you have any questions for Oscar.
Thanks so much, Cap. Yeah, I mean, this is really cool. I probably have too many questions to ask in the limited time that I actually have, so I'm just going to stick to them. It's an important one, I think. First and foremost, do you already have partnerships in place for like Helium, for instance, or these solar power panel providers or the East charging stations? Do you already have those partnerships in place? And two, would there be any sort of geofencing, or is this completely decentralized where anybody could invest and come along and just do this and make some kind of passive income?
Yes, we're working on partnership. We have right now one partnership with a EV charger company, and we're working. We're trying to make a partnership with Blink in Miami. We're based on Miami actually, and we're working on that. But it's like we have finished. We're right now we're in a pre-seed stage, so we're building, finishing the MVP, all the stuff, put all together, and we're working on that right now. But right now, actually, we're trying to make the partnership with Helium, with other deepin providers here in Miami. We want to be in touch as soon as possible with Borderless Capital because they have invested a lot in deepin devices and deepin startups. So we want to talk with them. We're making some partnership, but it's like we're in finishing the old tech right now. And in regarding your second question, everyone can invest in those assets. So let me show you because we're working on this dashboard, because right now when you go to jobprotocol.com and go to the platform, it's like it's difficult to understand because it was conceived for a technical guy. But what we are working right now is like this platform that this platform will list all available opportunities in deepin, so everyone could get into this platform and invest. So seeing the information, the financial information about the asset, and those values are calculated based on the blockchain information. So, for example, if you have the EV charger depositing the revenues, the EV charger needs to deposit into the blockchain. So you can see all the information and calculate in real time the yield. So that's the idea. It's like linking the dipping device into the token, because otherwise it's like, for example, right now I have a lot of for example, there is a lot of RW based projects and deepin projects that are more like in order to participate in the decentralized physical infrastructure economy, you need to buy their token. For example, if you want to buy, I don't know, participate in an RWA project, it's like buy my token. But what we're trying to solve is like investing directly into the asset that actually is making the money. So that's the difference. It's like here you invest directly into a specific hardware and to a specific physical infrastructure that is like for you is great because, for example, if you use the local infrastructure that you have in your community, like a automatic laundry machine, a automatic coffee shop, or I don't know, in the future automated shops, or wherever that is running using agents. Probably right now in the future will be a lot of infrastructure that will be automated. So if you are with this kind of tools, it will be easy for anyone to get a percentage of that, because it's like what we envision. We envision that the future is about to secure the ownership of what you consume, because obviously all will be automated, all will be running by AI agents, and so it's like how do empower people to get revenues of that automated economy, because most of the people will be useless in this kind of economy. So with those tools, even we're working in a concept that probably in the future is like wherever you buy or you use a service, you get a percentage of the future revenue of that service. For example, if you go to in the simple use case, like charge your vehicle, your electric vehicle, so only for charging your vehicle with that EV station, you get a percentage of the future revenue. It's like the cashback that we have right now, but better. It's like a better version of the cashback because it's about holding ownership regarding the future revenues, and also you require less compliance because it's not like the ownership of the things. It's about the ownership of the revenues. So makes more sense for the people actually, because you're what for the people is about the how get this ownership makes sense to me, so in an economic way. So makes sense because you will receive a future revenue of that infrastructure.
Right on. Outer Lumen, Raheem, any other further questions that you had?
I just had a quick question on the legal side of things, because you mentioned that, like, for me, the ApeChain, the NFTs on ApeChain piqued my interest. But like, I understand you're giving out revenue to NFT holders. I know Funky touched on the geo blocking thing, but I'm just like making sure, would that be considered as a security? How would like you tackle on that front? Also,
Yes,
sorry for losing my connection, but I heard the entire thing. I made sure I had another device. Sorry about that.
Yes, about the legal compliance, it's different because what we're doing here is like we're not tokenizing the real, like the physical ownership of the thing. So the ownership, the papers that, for example, that EV charger is mine or yours, it remains into the original owner. So the administrator or the company that hold those assets will be the legal owner of the asset. But the difference is that the revenues that that asset produce are decentralized. So that's why we call this concept like the DeFi layer of deepin ecosystem, because it's a different concept. It's like you are not tokenizing the legal ownership. So you with this concept you don't have the ownership problem that most of RWA's projects have, because you are only tokenizing the future revenues of the asset. So require less compliance, less barriers. Actually, the current legislation about this is like the same as meme coins. It's like holding an FT with royalties. So doesn't care that kind of system, because are based on trust. That's why because if you, for example, you buy a percentage of the example that I showed, the ape judge. For example, if you buy the 10% of the future revenue of that service, you need to trust the company that will deposit the earnings of the service. But what we are really hard working right now to solve is like be sure that you have all the technical connections that makes that process automatically. Like, for example, your fiat account, where you receive your payments, are linked with the agent. So all the money when you receive for example, in your Stripe account, your Stripe account is automated, so all the money goes directly into an on-run system, then goes into in crypto, for example, in Ape, then goes to a wallet. The wallet is running into a TE, so anyone, even the administrator, can manage the private key on that. So it's like we're trying really hard to making all the pieces that for this kind of services be trustless. Because right now, promising the future revenue is like, yeah, you need to trust the person who built the project. But we are trying to create here is like to create the tools for anyone to connect their account or connect a specific account or a specific, for example, in the case of dipping, it's easier because in all of the dipping devices you set up a reward address. So that reward address is like actually for our system is the profit pool address. So all the rewards goes directly into that address that already have all the distribution rules. So as long as that address isn't changed, and if with our system, because what we're doing also is like creating plugins for example, helium devices, EV chargers providers that wants to decentralize their EV chargers. So it will be set up in the hardware. So it will be really difficult to change that. So that's like what we are trying to do.
Perfect. Thank you, Oscar. Just for the sake of time, let's wrap it up. I think that we got like a really good picture of what you're trying to build. Thank you to all the judges for their questions. And Cap, who do we have next coming up?
We've
I
got
believe
coming up to talk Vonga. Oscar, thank you so much, and good luck.
you.
Be in touch. Well done.
I appreciate you.
GM, hello again, and the floor is yours, sir.
Awesome, thank you. So I may or may not be able to share here. If not, no big deal.
Yes. You can share.
Yeah.
The
Oh no,
screen.
sorry, Mike. No, I'm having an issue on my side.
Got it.
No big deal. So hey everybody, Von Front here. So I started Vonga based on the idea that there's a way to show people the benefits of being on chain without having to teach them about being on chain. I think mass onboarding happens to the blockchain when people actually don't realize they're using the blockchain. So instead of doing this with JPEGs or tokens, I decided to do this with clothes. Why clothes? Well, first, everyone wears clothes, most everybody, meaning we aren't having to teach them something new. It's a very large market that really hasn't been disrupted in some time. If I just look at the athleisure market alone, right? Think, hoodies, leggings, sweatshirts, pullovers, things like that. That is roughly a $660 billion, industry globally. And most brands are still, stuck at selling better looks, better fabrics, and that's all. And that's where they stop. Separately, the industries where their customers are participating are bleeding engagement. So one of the industries that we're targeting, actually, I'll get into this a little bit, for example, are gyms and fitness studios. So in the US alone, there's some roughly 150,000 gyms currently. But if you look at their engagement, about 50% of their members actually don't show up after 6 months. So you have this industry that hasn't been disrupted really in a long time, and an industry that needs disrupting, and you have a very common customer in basically people that are wearing, in this case, athleisure wear as the common denominator. Most of these gyms are small, independently owned, and so they don't have the tools to build their own kind of loyalty and engagement platforms that some of the larger chains would have. So that's where we come in. So Vonga aims to solve this by driving engagement, providing this platform to these locations through a revenue driving source that allows them to sell clothes from their studios and get the benefit of the engagement on the back end. So real quick, what is Vonga actually? So Vonga, we are premium clothing focused on athleisure right now with NFC chips embedded in every single one of our items. So basically, customer comes in, takes their phone, taps it to their, to the chip. This actually provides access to a digital platform where they can unlock rewards, discounts, whatever other perks that we can put into the platform. No wallet, no kind of technology barrier, just tap and go. So for a customer, it's clothes that they're going to want to wear anyway. We do focus on premium. We said premium athleisure. We do focus on actually making high quality clothes that even if there was no tech side, they would want to wear anyway. To these gyms and studios, like I said, it's a revenue producing plug and play loyalty engine that kind of turns something they're already trying to sell and grow their revenue from into a re-engagement tool. How we differentiate ourselves from other clothing brands, like I said, most clothing brands are stopping at the sale. Once I've sold you the clothes, mission complete. that's really where our relationship with our customers starts, because we get to have that ongoing loyalty that's enabled by the tech that we're kind of embedding in each one of our items. It doesn't require the studios to change systems, so we're not a traditional loyalty platform where they now have to go integrate something into an existing system. All they have to do is really carry our clothes, and we can kind of help manage everything on the back end. And as I've said before, unlike a traditional loyalty and rewards program that you're going to have to pay for, this is actually a revenue generating loyalty and rewards program that comes along with the clothing that they're able to provide to their members. So through all this, our goal is to create a new category that we're calling Where to Earn. So when it comes to the Ape ecosystem, we look at this in two different ways. So in terms of ApeChain, everything that we're doing is on chain, right? Every scan, every reward, every visit we're going to be recording it on chain. So trying to, it allows us to collect that data, really deeply understand our customer, and then benefits ApeChain, because now we're going to have more people that probably don't even know about ApeChain, may not even know about the blockchain. We're going to have a way to onboard them onto ApeChain. This means that we're now tying real world behavior to on-chain activity, which is something that we haven't seen many customer, kind of consumer apps do, and we haven't seen many real world brands do. Our goal isn't to stop there, though. It's not just to bring them on chain once and, claim a digital twin of their clothing. Our goal is to create this to be an engagement platform. So, partnering with these studios, partnering with these retailers to create campaigns where they are coming back every day, every week, every month, interacting with our brand. It'll drive from a chain standpoint, daily transactions, daily users. From our standpoint, we now get to be top of mind with our customers on each and every day and understand their behavior at a deeper level than most brands, because everything is on chain and we have that kind of full customer picture that we're able to create. Over time, our goal is to kind of start to embed ApeCoin into this as well, where you can earn, spend, unlock value through campaigns with ApeCoin. I do say over time, because as I opened up with, the best way to onboard people into a blockchain is to not let them know they're on the blockchain. So we want to be really, really clever of how we do that over time. But we do see a path forward that does allow us to eventually start to feather this in and introduce them to the concept of being on chain. So we look at this, really, it's, call it a Trojan horse, call it a bridge, but really it's trying to turn clothes into this connection point between people and kind of an on-chain environment that allows ApeChain not just to be an online network, but a network that's in real life too. So I mentioned we're starting in fitness, but there are multiple use cases that we're exploring. Think, pro shops at golf courses, merch stores at sporting events or concerts, restaurants, or even just more traditional retail. Really any place where we can find an intersection of clothing being sold and a need for that business to drive deeper customer engagement. So we think there's going to be a lot of opportunities where we can find that intersection. We're not just building a clothing brand, right? We see this more as I'll call it a human-friendly on-ramp to the blockchain that isn't just on your computer, but it's in your closet, it's walking to your gym, it's on the street. So we are already moving. Our e-commerce platform is up. The first iteration of our tech is live, continues to evolve. We're right now on track with our fall selling season to be in at least 8 locations, hopefully more by the time the selling season's over, and expecting that to grow going into the spring. And, I'll end with, I mentioned that, we're building a bridge that seeks to connect real life behavior to on-chain value. So I'll close with asking, who's ready to cross that bridge with us?
Look at the Shark Tank-like ending, judges.
You read my mind.
Any questions, judges?
I'll jump in. Yeah, just because an ignorance question from the tech side. So first and foremost, the NFC chip, how does it work insofar? Obviously you got to wash these clothes, right? Is it something where it's going to be waterproof, where it's not going to get damaged? Or is it just matter for that first time and then it's going to be connected to you somehow with the phone? So kind of was curious about that. And then if you already have suppliers and, how's the build out already coming along?
Yeah, so we've worked with a couple different chip manufacturers. They are waterproof. This shirt particularly has probably been washed, I don't know, a dozen or so times. They're heat proof. We've actually tested them up to 800 degrees in like a screen printer just to double check, and those worked out just fine. So if anyone knows of a reason to heat clothes beyond 800 degrees, let me know. From a supplier standpoint, we're currently working with IYK from a chip manufacturer. We have talked to others as well, just from, I always like to have backups. But I said, we've worked with a couple of these manufacturers. And so I talk about the initial iteration of our tech. Right now, we're trying to leverage as much of the external platforms as we can, really to figure out what are the models that fit with the customer base that we're looking at. And so once that model is fit, then we'll make the decision of, do we continue to build on somebody else's platform? Do we go build our own platform? Depending on how our needs match up with the capabilities of the vendors that we're using.
Awesome.
From a clothing standpoint, I work very closely with Clubhouse Archives and James Costa. For those of you who don't know James, he was the kind of mastermind behind the Ape Fest Lisbon merch as well. We have a network of suppliers. Actually, tariffs are not going to be a huge issue for us because our network is pretty global. In case anyone was wondering, I wonder every day. And so we're able to continue to source no matter what's happening in the macro environment. We're going to have the ability to source our clothing, source our chips, and get it into our customers.
And a quick follow-up: how would the data get to the blockchain eventually when this does go to ApeChain?
Yeah, so right now our smart contracts that we're building are on ApeChain. Every time right now that you're scanning, that mints a new NFT onto ApeChain from a claim standpoint. As we seek to build additional engagement, so think of things like POAPs for whether you are, hey, I went to the gym on Monday, you can grab a POAP for Monday, I grab another one for Tuesday, things like that. We're talking to a couple gaming companies as well, even just to have, not intense games, think like Wordle level of complexity, but again, more ways to engage the brand, to engage the customers with the brand, more ways to have fun activations for our retail partners that just kind of keep us in top of mind in a very lightweight way that isn't going to ask them to do a whole lot, because we know kind of changing consumer behavior is one of the hardest things you can do. We're not going to look to do a really heavy lift up front. We're going to look to do a series of light lifts, and hopefully over time that starts to nudge people more in our direction.
Can we ask?
Cool. Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure. Thanks for the presentation. This is super cool. I was trying to paint a picture in my mind of if this is a B2C or a B2B venture, or if this is both. Because it sounds like you're selling the merchandise directly to customers, right? And then they benefit from a bunch of various partners that you have and some of the perks that they have. But I also saw this as like because I think in every city that any of us are in, there is like a lot of independent businesses that would probably really benefit from having some of their brand on it, and then that like loyalty retention that happens every time you go to your local mom and pop grocery store or whatever else that you do. So I wondered if that's something that you've explored in kind of that B2B avenue where you're really empowering not so much a global scale thing, but something where the rewards are so obvious for these repeat customers that could be wearing that merchandise.
Yeah, great question. So we started off thinking this was going to be primarily a D2C type of method. I think as we've gone through our own kind of evolution and finding product market fit, B2B is actually growing as a place where we're getting a lot of traction. So I talked about those 8 locations, right? It's not because of, any strong kind of, D2C campaign. It's really because they see the benefit of how they can leverage the apparel in their location and the tech that comes with it to drive their underlying business, right? Whether it's a fitness studio, a yoga studio, a gym, those are the areas that we've really started to hit some traction with early on. So I expect at the beginning, we'll probably be more B2B, if I'm being completely honest. Over time, we do want to grow the D2C standpoint. Well, obviously easier to scale that standpoint, better margins in that area from a business standpoint. But we're not going strictly one way or the other. We're kind of letting the market come to us a little bit, understanding where we have that product market fit at this early on, and then we'll look to scale accordingly.
Right on.
Yeah, well, my question was very similar to Arthur Lumen, so I wouldn't repeat myself. But I want to give you flowers. I love the bit about customer engagement and keeping that loyalty after people buy clothes. That I used to work in the fashion industry, and that just like straight up doesn't exist. And the idea of collecting POAPs, especially in like places like concerts, and the concept of super fans and building that out based on like the merch or the clothing that you wear, is something I'm like super passionate about. So I just wanted to give you your flowers for that.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate it.
When you were presenting, I wrote down, usually people want discounts to buy clothing, but in your case, people get discounts for wearing the clothing.
Yeah, we'll do a little of both. So there's some very traditional marketing campaigns, marketing tactics that we'll take as well. But yeah, we are trying to do something different that you don't really see in a lot of places, and that's one of the fun things that the blockchain allows us to do. That, to be honest, most other brands aren't taking advantage of. So I enjoy being small and scrappy and doing something a little different.
Right on. Well, thanks, Von Frunten. Appreciate it. Always good hearing and talking. And even on the just, kind of tech didn't cooperate with you today, but you powered through and it was awesome. So appreciate you jumping in and giving a really cohesive pitch as well.
Thank you.
So thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. Well done. All the pitches have been great so far. Up next, we have So how do I pronounce the name correctly, Laura? I should let you take this one so I don't butcher it one more time. Zoe, welcome back. Congratulations, and looking forward to hearing more about GamiFi.
Thank you, guys. Really big shout out also to 10K. I've heard earlier Jay-Z was talking about introverts and the fact that we brought the transactions like roughly 1 million transaction on chain was mind-blowing also for us. So I really loved also UCAP pinned the tweet we made on our official account. And today I would like to deep dive a little bit more on GamiFi, which is a product powered by introverts. And it's a sort of evolution, if we want to say, of introverts into prediction market. So there is a huge wagering component. Let me share a presentation. Okay. Let me know if you can see my screen.
It should pop up if you use the present and pick a screen. And if it doesn't, oh, yeah, there you go. You're good.
Okay, perfect. So I would love to deep dive on what we are doing to gamify this biggest unspoken Web3 narrative. Basically, Web3 is a PvP market, right? And what we want to bring back to the space, since everyone is kind of competing for resources, right? For liquidity, mind share, and everything. What we want to give back to the space as a solution, it is a sort of battlefield, literally, where communities are deciding who deserves the most and the best all these resources. And we do that through entertainment. So we have a gameplay where people play with their resources, with their time. And on top of that, we have prediction pools. So they play with liquidity, and on a side, also social activities. So basically for ApeChain, we are building the following cases, but just the sky's the limit. At the beginning, we would like to introduce Orange versus Aqua. I would make a demo just real quick. And also we would love to bring together in competition all the NFT collection, but also all the memes, or anyone who wants to start a competition using ApeCoin inside the wagering pools. And in a long-term vision, we would like to bring all these over in other side. So this is just an example about how big it can become a competition, because a lot of times people are asking how it can become. It can become as a NFT battle royale like these, as a bracket tournament, or it can be a one-on-one, community gameplay. So it's really up to the communities participating what they would like to do. At the beginning, we will run competition by our own, but in the future you will see a button, and I will show you also in the demo, where communities autonomously can start their own tournaments. We are already in partnership with multiple communities, more than 30 on ApeChain, and we are bringing over ApeChain more than 35 communities so far for enlarging the ecosystem, bringing more volume, more users, transactions, and so on and so forth. So let me share again my screen, and I can show you a demo because the product is ready and it's working. And there we go. Let me know again if you can see my screen. I'm not sure if you guys can see that.
You're live now.
Oh, yes. Okay, perfect. So basically, this is how it looks like. It's a really degen platform. So there is a huge aspect related to speculation, if we want to use that word. And you literally go big or go broke. So people are watching at the beginning a section of all competitions. For example, Orange versus Aqua, as I was mentioning earlier, but also they can participate not just in the game, but also in the wagering pools. So basically anyone can join one of the investment pools, and each pool can have also a threshold, so we can make fair all the competitions. And once the pools are arriving to a certain threshold, the game can start. I will make you an example. So here we will have an overview of the leaderboard and of the competition with all the active players, with their relative scores. And when we go to play, the pools get into the full degen mode. We called it like that because they get locked. You cannot stake or unstake anymore your ape coins inside the game. And it's up to the communities in game. I play with Aqua because I'm Aqua. And it's up to the communities in game deciding who's the winning pool. So the winning pool will then get merged with the losing pool, and then all the money, like all the liquid money, will be redistributed inside the winners. So inside the leaderboard based on the best performers of that specific community that won. So yeah, this is basically it. I'm not a great fighter when I'm speaking, but yeah. And what we would like to do, it's like especially for other side, is implementing the wagering part, because for sure on other side there will be other games, and our long-term vision is also to bring this tool not just on our games but also on other games, so anyone can use that using ApeCoin, and we will bring more utilities to the coin and also more utilities to the existing communities, because we are really well connected to the ecosystem, and bringing new communities makes new people falling in love with the existing NFT collection. And so people will buy new NFTs on ApeChain, and everything will be really fun, immersive, and entertaining. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Let's go to the judges. Oh, go ahead, Cap. Sorry.
Going the same way. So many of these I feel are building for more than just themselves, and whether it's collaborations or actually building tools and ecosystems for others, that's been my big takeaway of the day, is really is a chain of collaboration. And yeah, go ahead, judges. So feel free to fire away. Funky, you got any questions for Zoe?
No, I'm still mesmerized by actually seeing the actual gameplay. Like, I mean, I can't believe that. Was that in real time, or was that actually? So I guess my question would be, would it work that quickly even if it were on chain? Or is it just like the settlement happens on chain? Because normally we are used to blockchain games being very slow and clunky and whatnot. And that seemed like incredibly responsive. So just kind of curious about what's under the hood.
So yes, this is a good question, because we worked on that for over more than 1 year to make it performing it good. First of all, the game per se is not on chain. So we are having servers with different geographical zones, so people get connected in similar geographical zones, so it's lagging as less as possible. And that's really important, because in the past, there were people in America and people in Europe not being able to have, a stable gameplay. So that was a really good point. And what we do It is to read your wallet. We have, you can connect your wallet at the beginning, and we are reading all your assets. So if you are having an NFT belonging to a specific community in the competition, you can have a multiplier in your score. Or if you want, for example, have a multiplier coming from our own collections from, the platform, we will just read your wallet, and, we will understand which are the assets that you can use in game to compete and, score higher and higher and scale the leaderboard. And, the game is performing so well also because, first of all, we fell in love with the models of Rita. And I really have to shout out for Rita because he made an incredible job. I remember in 2023, we had a side event during Ape Fest in Hong Kong in the Soho House. And we were probably the first people trying to make so many 3D models of apes, just because we wanted to have a competition live inside the event where we were in collaboration with Animoca and some other games. And it was extremely difficult to make that level of quality for a model with a high performance in game, because it needed really a lot of vertex polygons. I'm not getting too much technical in this stuff because it's really difficult to understand, but Rita made, all the assets for, the apes game ready. So everything is really performing well. And what we would like to do, it is to, at the moment, we are avatarizing some of the collections that are in need for an avatar in game, for example, some NFT collection on ApeChain. But I would really like to address anyone who needs a 3D asset to Rita, because really whatever he did was really, improving also the quality of the game, like the performance. And yeah, it's more than 1 year that we are testing this gameplay. So yeah, it's really performing well, and everything is live. So you can choose a PvP battle between, people that are inside the game. You will see the people inside the game once you join the competition, but it's random. So you cannot pick Raim, for example, and decide just because you're orange and he's aqua, whatever, it's really random. And whenever there is nobody inside your server, you can also fight against AI. So it's a PvE, but you score less points compared to have a PvP battle.
Very cool.
So that looks super awesome. Thank you for showing that. Yeah, like that gameplay, like definitely mesmerized me as well. I love the fact that you're bringing other communities outside of ApeChain. I think that's kind of nice to see people being onboarded. I want to pick your brain about, I think, especially because you mentioned you have like servers in different parts of the world based on your geographic reason to basically reduce latency. Of course, running gaming ecosystem, running servers is an expensive overhead cost. Considering business models like this are based on attention as well, because you are kind of building like that wagering ecosystem that, like, okay, you have the aqua versus orange battles, but obviously like the more you'll do over time, you'll have to come up with like different battles to engage different people. So it's like, it's not like you can make a business model, like you can make a product and you don't have to keep iterating it. So I think one of the things that Web3 struggles with a lot are business models. A lot of products just don't have that. How are you? Like, I'm curious to know, because I understand your business model is based on volume, I guess.
So basically, we are getting 5% on the pools of investments. So it's basically for each competition, we are, keeping 5% of both, which is basically 10% of the losing pool. Because anyway, when you lose everything, you don't care, So we first take our, fees, and then the rest that is contained in the losing pool has been transferred into the winning pool, and then that pool is redistributed among the winners. But there are so many parallel business revenue streams. I was these days I was in so many spaces because of the launch of the Formula Ape, and a lot of people were like brainstorming live with me in the spaces. That was really cool. And so really the sky is the limit, because a lot of people were suggesting really smart ways to monetize everything.
Very cool. Well, look, thank you very much. Awesome. Another awesome pitch. I mean, I know we have one more coming in. We have Zards coming in, and great guy, gonna obviously knock it out of the park just like everybody else has before. But thanks for doing this, because I feel like these 5 pitches are just restoring my faith in humanity on chain at the most important time, when I've been feeling like so despondent over like there's no interesting stuff going on, and then I have 5 just stone cold killers come in with like real products and real cool uses of the blockchain. So appreciate that very much.
You didn't mint a bunch of content coins, Steve?
No, there hasn't been a single content coin pitched to me today. Not one.
That word has to be banned from this.
Yeah. It's a pump fun coin, but with a bigger picture. All right. Let's thank you so
well done,
much.
yes.
Yeah, well done. And let's bring up Zards to bring us home. And then what we'll end up doing here afterwards is we will clear the room in totality. Let the judges use the private room to discuss. When our winner is announced, we can maybe bring them back on. So if you're listening and you win, maybe pop back on as a yay hooray. We can talk about that a little bit, but
it'll just take 60 seconds. Yeah, we'll when we say discuss, we can keep the video live. We'll just discuss in the private chat, and then if our winner wants to jump back in, you're welcome to. But no,
yeah. So one of the potential winners here, somebody again, hair respects hair. Zards, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you. No, I was just going to say a little backstory to this. So I was introduced to Pitch Deck about 4 hours ago, so this is going to be so much fun. But yeah, no, I wanted to say that I've been sort of in the NFT space for about 3 years. I've been on Ethereum. I've experienced that whole sort of like process of being on that chain. And I'd never experienced anything like I have on ApeChain before. So this is, as a builder, I felt like I've never been more welcome, supported, and free to sort of build. And I think Zards for me is the perfect example of what ApeChain has allowed me to do as a builder. So I wanted to do a little share screen with you here on my very innocent pitch deck here. So I'm just going to share this with you guys. Hopefully this works. Okay. Here we go. Right, so here we go. Hopefully, can you guys see that okay?
Yes, you're live now.
You can see that. Brilliant. Okay. Right, so yes, if this will let me do. Okay, here we go. Oh, need to go back now. Told you I was new to this. Okay, so just the quick facts that we were talking about earlier on today. Obviously, Zards sold out 5,000 in 20 minutes. We were the top 6 winner for ApeChain Spotlight. We have a fully built up DApp, and this was the first physical and digital tie-in book for ApeChain. We also noticed some areas that we wanted to sort of fill the gap for Web3, especially on ApeChain. And we noticed that the NFT space needed deeper storytelling and world building. ApeChain lacked a narrative-driven flagship project. We needed to have something that sort of filled the gap for the growing demand for play to earn and mixed media. And lastly, we wanted to have something where there was organic onboarding from Web 2 to Web 3. Now, this sort of screen here I'm showing you now, it just shows you some of those basic areas that we've covered. So we have our DApp, which is on our website. Hopefully you guys can you see this screen here now? Sorry.
Yeah, coming through clear.
Brilliant. Okay, so this is our main website. These are the 3 main areas that we wanted to focus on for our holders. So we got our inventory checker, our training, which is soft staking, and then our prize wheel. So going back to our little page here, this is where we're focusing on the utility. Utility was the #1 thing that we wanted for our holders. We wanted people to have something to do. Once they've got their NFT, what can I do with that NFT? So we wanted to create an experience that was immersive for our holders. So you come to our site, you can check your inventory. You can see what Zards you hold. So if I just show you this here real quick. So this is your inventory. It will load which Zards you're holding, give you information on which guild they're part of. If you've got a complete guild set, which is all 13 of the guilds that we have. So it's a really sort of in-depth area to sort of build out your collection and see what you've got so far. Going back to our little pitch deck here, we also created our guild guide here for everyone, so everyone can see which guilds there are to collect, and obviously, as I say, if you have all 13, you have multipliers within our collection too. We had a map, which is, again, building out that lore. We've got lore scrolls here at the bottom, and also little visuals of some of these areas as well from our map, just to sort of bring things to life a little bit more. We also didn't believe in having any follow-up collections for Zards, so we are introducing things like, for example, potions. This provides actual meaningful utility built on top of the existing collection. So nothing stagnates. It's always has an ability to move the project forward. That's coming very soon in Q2, and you'll be able to use Zards tokens for that. Going back to that deck as well. Last but not least, we wanted to show what Zards is offering outside of the NFTs. So obviously we've got our storytelling through the book on Amazon. We've got our Discord, which we're going to be involving games and more sort of user interactivity there. We've got the metaverse, which I'm going to talk about a little bit more in a second, which is for the other side. We're going to be having our other side build out. And then this summer, we're going to be releasing our MMO game called Zards Dungeons. And that's going to loop in things like the magic points and also the Zards tokens as well. But it's going to be a world that you can spawn into. It's going to start off really small to start off with. And users can sort of see each other. They can, cast spells on things. They can have little areas where you can have treasure hunts and solve problems together and start using spells as well. So that's really cool. And then last but not least, we've got rewards, which you're obviously getting through our training portal. So talking about training, I just wanted to open that up real quick. So here we are just showing you the Zards training. So you look at the Zard that you have, you click on it, you select the training time frame that you want. So it's either 7 days, 14 days, 30 days, or 90 days. And then you click on that, and then you start training your Zard that way. So you just click on it and then click on Start a Zard's Training. Then down at the bottom here, you'll see all of your staking history, and it will show you when you started, as well as any multipliers that you may have picked up along the way. So if you have all 13 guilds, for example, all 13 staffs, you'll get a 4 times multiplier on your Zards tokens and your MP, which is magic points. Then I wanted to show you here, when you have your magic points, they get fused to the metadata, as you can see down here. And that actually increases the rarity of your Zard. So by having an actionable event for your holders, for them to actually come onto your site, for them to stake their Zards and put them through a period of training, you create that actionable event that rewards them not only in tokens, but also in magic points as well, which will increase their rarity. Last but not least, we have the prize wheel. So again, going back to that last section here on our website, the prize wheel, this is a exclusive for ApeChain projects. It's a way of being able to showcase small projects and large projects, and also give a use case for our holders to have to use their Zards tokens. So obviously you can see here up at the top, it'll show you your Zards token balance, and you can actually use that for free to spin the wheel and essentially use your Zards tokens. So here are just some of the projects that we're working with at the moment, obviously, but I just think it's a great way to support projects on ApeChain and projects that have maybe helped you out along the way as well. Last but not least,
Zards, I think we might be lagging
on.
I think we might be lagging on your deck.
Oh no! Okay, whereabouts are you at the moment? What's it showing?
Current screen is beyond the Zards NFTs.
Beyond the Zards NFTs.
Discord, metaverse, MMO game, and rewards.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, right. You're quite a bit back then. Apologies. Okay, I'm gonna actually stop the screen sharing for now. Sorry, give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna do this the old school way. Okay, can you see me okay now? All good?
All good.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. Okay, cool. All right, I'm gonna do this old school. Right, so we have the staking platform, which is training. We have the prize wheel, which supports ApeChain projects. What we are also going to be doing this summer after the game launch, which is going to be that MMO style game that I told you about, is we're going to be tying in the other side to our storytelling. Now, I told you about our book, and this is the actual book. This is the Zards Stories. It's called The Time of Shadows. We have an onboarding section in this for people who are from Web 2. So if you go to Amazon, type in Zards or The Time of Shadows, you'll actually see this book. There's QR codes on the back here to onboard you onto marketplaces. There is even a section at the back of the book which thanks our holders So you've got that whole section there, which shows you some of our holders, and a little thank you to those people. And it's a great way of being able to onboard people from Web 2 into Web 3 in a really sort of relaxed manner. We have a detailed area at the back that tells you about marketplaces, about wallets, how to get set up into Web 3 essentially. So that's what we're doing with that. Going back to the other side, book 2 of this is going to be exploring the other side. We're going to have the Zards discovering a portal, which is going to lead into our other side land, which is the Shadowland. And we're going to be meaningfully writing that into the Zards lore. And then this is where the mixed media comes into it. We're going to be having adventures in the other side, live storytelling with our holders. And there's going to be treasure hunts in our other side land as well. So what we're essentially doing is creating a mixed media experience through the NFTs, through the storytelling in the books, and then through the gamification of our own game, and also into the other side as well. So that's a little sort of 101 on what we've got planned coming up into this summer.
Right on. Judges, feel free to jump in with questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. That looks super awesome. I'm a big fan of like storytelling. I feel like that's something the space needs a lot more. So nice to see that book was already out. So one of my questions was that I want to ask, because you mentioned on your deck that you are doing your token in Q2 of this year. So I'm considering you guys are building the MMO game. You guys have the staking ecosystem that you guys are building, the other side integration. It's refreshing and interesting at the same time to hear you guys building out an ecosystem way later and launching the token before. So in terms of like in the future, like are you guys looking to like fundraise? Is this like, are you going to like do it like an equity for the IP? Like I'm curious to know, because you guys have taken like a slightly different approach that we've seen in the last like a year or two. So I'm curious to see from a business point of view, how are you looking at like that?
Yep. No, we're not going to be raising any funds whatsoever. What we made from our initial mint, which was 5 APE, which was essentially $5 mint back in November. We have got that money and we've put that aside for the build out of our game. Everything else has been done off my own back through learning things myself. It's mainly it's a very small team. It's myself, it's my dev. I have a community lead, Luigi, and then I have my kids as well who help come up with some ideas. It's very much a sort of family project in that way as well. A lot of people from ETH know me as Pixelsaurus, so I've got 3 years from that experience with that I've brought over to ApeChain, and why we've also had a lot of support from the ApeChain community because of them knowing me from Ethereum. So yeah, what we've essentially done is with that token, which is already out there, it's a utility token. I always said that we never want to add a pool to that token because we want to bring 100% of the value from within our community and within our ecosystem. So, and again, that's recyclable. So when you sweep Zards, you get tokens. When you train your Zards, you get tokens. When you spend your tokens on the prize wheel, those tokens go straight back into the token pool, and we start all over again. So it's a way of being able to just continually look after the ecosystem. As for the game, that's the great idea. The great thing behind that is that we're building it out slowly. So we're going to start off with a small map. If you guys are familiar with Pixels Online, it's going to be kind of similar to that, but we're obviously going to be in a sort of cave environment with lots of different diverse environments within that. And we're going to start off small, and we're going to be very honest with that because I don't want to be coming out with a fully fledged game. We want to say this is how we're going to start off small, and we're going to grow and evolve with our holders. And I think there's some honesty in that I personally love, and I'm looking forward to sort of growing that with our holders.
You sort of anticipated my questions, Zards, insofar as I was going to ask about the timeline for the game development, like when it would be out and so on and so forth. You kind of already addressed that. So thanks. It really looks interesting. And you also kind of answered, like, because I thought it looked very cute, right? And just like, but knowing that your kids are involved, like, that's really cool. Like it's a great family project to build out something like this. And I'm sure they're learning a lot about blockchain in the process.
Thanks. Yeah, they are. Yeah, and look, hands up. I'm a kid myself, basically. I'm 45 years old this year, and I've never grown up. I'm into Lego. I'm into all the stuff I loved as a kid, and this project is genuinely a labor of love for me. So everything that you see, all of the ideas have come through growing up, love or not growing up, and just loving things from my childhood. So that's what it's about basically. It's about having fun and also having an escape for you guys, you know, for families, for kids, for degens. It can be literally anything to everyone. And I know that's a bold statement to make, but it really can. It's family friendly, and it's an escape that you can have after you've had a long day at work. That's the dream.
Love that. Well, look, here's what we're going to do next. I really appreciate you, Zards, for coming up. And, you know, again, appreciate you. You're another one who shows up every day, and we appreciate your insights and you have a warm zest for life, which I think is awesome for sure. But
thanks.
That said, we're going to do this. We're going to remove everybody except the judges and the hosts. So don't be offended when we kick you out of the room, because what we're going to do is let the judges use the private chat to chat things out. We've gotten some insight from Outer Lumen that we can add. And what we'll do is Laura and I will do a little recap while Raheem and Funky talk it out in the private chat. So Zards, I'm going to remove you from stage, and then I'm going to start kicking people from the room again. Although kick from studio, not ban from studio. Got to make sure that I do it correctly, because I don't want to ban anybody. So we're gonna kick from studio one at a time, and just kind of keep it a nice, clean studio backstage. Thank you to everybody who has been in the green room and helped us test this out on our sort of maiden voyage here. And thanks to the judges as well for frankly helping us get through this. I know you stayed longer than asked, and Raheem's done double duty, so you guys are the best. So go ahead and use the private chat it out there, figure it out, and kind of talk it through there. We'll keep an eye on that. Take your time while we do the recap, so the two of you can kind of talk things out. We've gotten some insights from Outer Lumen, and in fact, I can even share those with you in the chat if you want as you go. But I'll kind of kick off, and then I'll go, Laura, get your thoughts, Cap, get your thoughts. Look, while they discuss the winner and chat it out, I said it earlier. One, you know, ton of learnings today to do this again in the future, but really happy with how it all went down. Garga was pretty awesome, you know, on the opening keynote. Really enjoyed all of the panels. And I just think the 90-second pitches were electric. I personally very much enjoyed this portion, because I feel like I've been a little despondent about things being built on chain, what's getting attention. And I don't know, I guess, like, give me your take on this, Laura, but I felt like we got to see real builders and get this life breathed into the ecosystem across ApeChain, which felt really, really awesome.
100%. I think that many times the ongoing question that I get when I go to events or when we speak about, you know, the ecosystem is like, do these things have to be built in chain? Like, what are the perks? Like, what do we need this? And sure, we want more people to build, but to build what? Oh, something that you like, something that resonates with you, something that finds a solution to a problem. And today we had such a variety of answers to that question that it's not just coming from my own, right? Like, and I don't know, I think it expanded my view on how to use the chain, how to implement like different ideas, different solutions, and also like the impact that you could create in whatever aspect and realm you are currently in, or that you have been intrigued for a long time. So I don't know, I like I said, I'm like, it sounds so cliche, and I'm like, I caught myself like every time I've been wanting to say that today, but it's the reality. It's the opportunity of just coming on here, even if it's like the 90-second pitch, even if it's, you know, top 5, it's already a foot in the door. It's like, if someone didn't get to be here with us today for ApeCon, and like they listen to the replay, they watch the replay, they might resonate with one of these ideas, and they might make it a reality. And maybe a few months from now, we'll go back and like, oh, remember when that was just an idea that was sparking up, and now, you know, like you said at the beginning, now they're creating a brand new idea, but this is how they connected initially. So all these potentials just inspire me, and yeah, and I'm grateful for the judges as well for, you know, asking all these very great questions, and really being into their pitches, you know, because it is a lot of information. It is a long day, and to have like the same energy throughout and the same engagement and excitement, it's great. So thank you.
Cap, any recap thoughts as the judges kind of deliberate a little bit? Shared some Outer Lumens insights, and I know they are. It's it went pretty well when they are agonizing over the ultimate result, which I feel in my soul. I get it. And I totally understand because it's hard when you have one winner and you have 5 really good pitches who have gone throughout the day, who answered all the questions, who worked really hard to kind of dive it in. So just, it's a difficult thing and a difficult task for sure from them. But Cap, any thoughts while they further agonize?
Yeah, really enjoyed the day. I have a lot of thoughts and things I think that went really well, things we could do a little differently next time. And appreciate everyone who tuned in, appreciate everyone who participated today, powered through any technical challenges, and truly a building and public day for us. So thank you all very much for the support. Big thanks to our sponsors one last time. Our Thank Ape really making this entire day possible. Their Swamp Roots initiative, I can't speak highly enough about it. The Thank Ape program in general, and Thrive. If you've not yet set up a Thrive account, a Thank Ape account, do so as soon as possible. The next Thank Ape season or the Swamp Roots initiative is not live yet, but it sounds like it's coming very soon. And I would say this, even if because I've submitted a lot of grants and applications that we've not got before, but I think every one that I've submitted has helped me do better the next time. And this is a team that'll give you feedback. This is a team that will, I think there's, even if you don't secure funding, there's a lot of benefits that can come out of this ecosystem and the processes, some of the other support systems that were mentioned today. I kind of like you said it earlier, there's like a restored faith in this space, that it's not just a giant degen casino. There is actually a lot more being built than today's iteration of a meme coin launchpad, and get really excited to think that while we've been here for several years, it's also a reminder of how early we really are when you hear a lot of these ideas and things. It's like inevitably, like some of the, like, it's going to be the way forward with some things. It's just, we're going to have connected clothing. Like, it's just, this sort of stuff it really does seem inevitable. Every one of our pitches today, for the most part, it's just, there was so many that are really improving upon something that exists in the world today, and not just slapping it on chain to slap it on chain to secure funding, or community or something. Like, really some exciting stuff happening. But that said, they're all at ground floor, right? Like, the tech really has advanced leaps and bounds in the last few years in terms of being consumer friendly, where the tech can be hidden. And that was kind of to sum it up in a nutshell, I feel like reminded how much of still really a ground floor situation it is for most industries building on chain. And just gets me really excited to be here, and excited to build with an incredible group of people. We said it a few times today, but the people of Web3, the people of crypto, the people of this Ape ecosystem really are incredible individuals. And the crypto at large has as a PR issue, as a reputation challenge. It's eye-opening to me how really different it is when you get to know the people that are actually here, and grateful for all of you. So shout outs once again to Thank Ape, as well as G's for contributing the G's on Ape, Primate Markets for their unrevealed NFTs, Imlo on the one-of-ones, and the ApeChain intern for those dangs on Ape. Really appreciate that, and congrats again to all those winners, and as well as all of our participants, whether you are a finalist or the would-be winner here. Big congrats on showing up today, and I'm sure you made an impression on someone. So that would be my last closing words, and I'll hand it back to you, Steve. Is make sure you connect with someone, follow a new person, shoot into DM, leave today with a new relationship, and that'll be a win in my book. If a few people leave here with a new connection, do share, let us know, reach back out to Steve, Laura, myself, and if you end up, a connection you made today turns into be your next co-founder, I would love to know that down the road, and we'll be rooting for you for sure.
Yeah.
Before you announce, can I just say something real quick, Steve, before you announce the winner? I just want to say something about the Ape community, because I am so impressed. I do not own an Ape. I'll never forget watching Elio Trades the first week of June back in 2021, and he was talking about how apes are going to be hot, and he was in the community and everything else. And this was like when they were 1 ETH. It's a huge regret. But having just gone to NFT Paris, and I didn't really think the event was all that great, and I missed seeing you guys, which really bummed me out. I did see Raheem. But the booth, like the area where the ape community was so vibrant. And so like you could just get a sense of the community, how collaborative it is, how much people support one another. As a classroom teacher, I used to try and build a very similar culture among my students, like that everybody was all working toward a greater goal. I very much get that sense out of Ape DAO. I think you guys, hats off to both of you and Laura. I'm sure you've been here all day. Like we are now 8 hours into a live stream. I do a lot of meetings at work all day. It is exhausting to be staring at a camera for this long. And so you guys should be commended for what you've done today. And I'm just really grateful that you got me involved. And so I just wanted to say thank you. I keep pushing back a meeting that was supposed to happen at 3. I'm like DMing the guy. I'm like, hey, I'm so sorry, bro. Like, I'll meet you at 4. And now we're past 4. But I just wanted to jump in and say that. And hats off to all the finalists. You guys had some really incredible pitches. Do not be deterred by the fact if you were not selected as the winner. I think you all have amazing products that really are going to blossom in the months and years ahead, especially with a community like this Ape community supporting each other. So I just had to say that before we, you know, close this out and announce the winner. So, and thank you again for allowing me to be part of this today. I really appreciate both of you guys.
Appreciate you very much as well. Super appreciate you. And Raheem, same, super appreciate you as well. Y'all are your friends, your people that I enjoy and admire in the space. And so just being able to share the space with you guys today has been really awesome for me personally. I'll say, and gave you a very tough task of judging 5 and we'll say this, we're about to announce the winner. I mean, I can tell you, chatting it through, it was very, very close. Not just saying this, like this discussion point was so difficult. And I kind of mentioned them agonizing in the chat, the amount of comments, the amount of discussion we were having in there until it finally netted out by, I believe Funky used the term by a nose, right? Like just like the horse trading term by a nose, like that's how close it was. So really everyone did quite well. But without further ado, the winner of the grant, thank you, Ape. Thank you, everybody at ApeChain, is Vanga. Vanga and Von Frunten ended up taking it home by a hair. So, Von Frunten, you're welcome to jump back in the room if you want. We're more than happy to add you to the stage. Congratulations. Welcome. Like I said, welcome to jump back in if you want to make it, Von Frunten. If you can't, totally cool. I know it's been a long day. But while we get Von Frunten to go up here, Raheem, real quick, want to throw it to you. Any parting thoughts, as well as, you know, any thoughts on you want to comment a little bit on what you were saying, maybe even in the chat about Vanga, how they barely edged it out, and your thoughts on what you really like there?
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Like, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Like, if you think about it, like the diversity of everyone's pitches were like so insane. We had like, you know, building like fashion ecosystems. You had like IP. We had like game dope protocol, something like you don't hear about every day. I think like being in the space, you don't often come like across like new ideas. So thank you. Like, I mean this from the bottom of my heart, and I want to echo what Steve was saying. I think like, in some ways, like I want all of us to realize that we are pioneering the Web3 space. Like every single one of you, whatever you're building, whatever struggles that you have, it's going to revolutionize what happens in the future, what happens with ownership. And I hope all of us, we are proud of every single thing that you're doing, regardless of whether you win or you don't. You guys are doing an amazing job. It was super difficult. It was quite hard. But I guess sometimes these things can be a bit tricky and unfair, but like super grateful for everyone. Vanga, hats off to you, and excited to see everything that you do, as well as everyone.
Von Frunten, awesome to see you up here. Really glad. Actually, shout out Laura at telling us to extricate ourselves from the voting process because you're a friend, and it would have looked really. If I did it, it might have looked kind of weird. But
I'm gonna go grab my Vanga pullover now.
Yeah, these guys obviously liked it as well. Any thoughts? I know we put you through the ringer today. You had a great 90-second pitch. It was super tight. We put you on the spot. You went first. Not an easy place to be. You came through in the afternoon. Couldn't do the screen share because of some technical issues on the StreamYard end, but you were able to still deliver a very thoughtful and compelling pitch. Any thoughts on the competition in the day?
Gosh, a lot of gratitude right now. Thank you. this whole process, I mean, it's funny, there's been DMs of those of us who are all part of this, like going on in the background of like people who are pitching, people who are like, audience members. I just want to say, like, Steve, Cap, Laura, thank you for this whole process. Like the winning has been, I'll process that here probably over the next couple hours here and maybe even longer. But I think the whole process of getting the story together, getting like it was a sharpening the saw kind of experience for a lot of us out here. So I just want to say, like, incredibly well done, how it was structured, how it was organized, going through all this. Thank you for that. Raheem, Funky, thank you both. Really appreciated you coming in to help out with this. I'll echo a little bit. See, I think what you and Laura were saying earlier of like, I probably came out of this more inspired than anything by listening to everybody else. To see all the really just cool, diverse use cases of blockchain, cool things that people are building. I want to play that video game too. Like there were just so many cool things, and like it's the thing that wowed me about blockchain back in 2021 when I really started getting involved in NFTs. I love seeing that people are building. It's not the stuff that hits the timeline. It's not the stuff that gets the views on X, but it's the thing that inspired me to get into the space. It's the thing that inspires me to stay in the space, and I just walk away from this day inspired and grateful.